Today, August 3rd, 2025, marks a momentous shift in American media history. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, known as CPB, the nonprofit organization created in 1967 to bring educational, cultural, and public service programming into millions of homes across the United States, is officially beginning its shutdown. Congress has rescinded $1.1 billion of its funding over the next 2 fiscal years, and future budgets allocate zero support. CPB has confirmed it will cease most operations by September 30th, 2025, with a small team remaining until January 2026 to complete the wind-down process. This decision is part of the Rescissions Act of 2025, a sweeping measure that eliminated CPB grants entirely. Earlier this year, President Trump signed Executive Order 14,290, directing the termination of federal funding to NPR and PBS through the CPB, citing claims of political bias and arguing that taxpayer subsidies for public media were outdated. On June 12th, the House of Representatives passed the rescission bill by a vote of 214 to 212, and on July 17th, the Senate approved it by 51 to 48. The following day, the House agreed to the amended version, finalizing the cuts. For nearly 6 decades, CPB has been a pillar of American public media. It has funded PBS NPR and more than 1,500 local public radio and television stations, ensuring access to non-commercial programming, educational shows, cultural content, emergency alerts, and even music licensing services. From iconic children's shows like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to Ken Burns' documentaries and trusted news coverage, CPB has touched generations of Americans. Why did this happen? Supporters of the cuts, including President Trump and many Republican lawmakers, have long argued that public media outlets, especially NPR, lean politically left, and that federal funding should not support organizations they believe have ideological biases. While CPB's federal budget share was less than 0.01% of total federal spending, its grants made up a vital portion of funding for countless stations, especially in rural and underserved communities. The impact of this shutdown will be felt most in smaller markets. Many rural stations depended on CPB for at least 25% of their total budget, with some relying on it for over 40%. For example, NPR Illinois, which received 12% of its operating budget, about $200,000 to $250,000 annually from CPB, has warned it may have to cut programming or close a satellite station that serves rural listeners. CPB also coordinated national participation in the emergency alert system, including Amber Alerts, and handled music licensing for stations nationwide. Without it, individual broadcasters will face higher costs and more complex operations. The loss of federal support will lead to layoffs, program cancellations, and, in many cases, station closures. Most CPB employees will be laid off by the end of September 2025, with only a transition team remaining until January 2026. PBS and NPR will still exist, but without CPB, they will need to rely far more on private donations, sponsorships, and philanthropic support. Larger stations in wealthy urban markets may adapt, but many small-town and rural stations lack the donor base to survive long-term. This raises serious questions about the future of public media in America. Public broadcasting has consistently been ranked as one of the most trusted institutions in the country. In recent polls, 66% of Americans said federal funding for public broadcasting was a good value, with even a majority of Republicans agreeing. But with 55 million Americans already living in news deserts areas with little or no access to local journalism, this decision could accelerate the decline of local reporting, civic engagement, and educational programming. The loss of CPB-supported infrastructure also puts emergency communications at risk, leaving some communities more vulnerable during crises. The timeline is clear. By September 30th, most CPB operations will cease, and by January 2026, the organization will be fully dissolved. In the meantime, local stations are scrambling to restructure, merge, or shift entirely to donor funding. Legal challenges have been filed, with NPR and PBS arguing that the funding cuts violate both the First Amendment and the Public Broadcasting Act. Whether these lawsuits can reverse the decision remains uncertain. This moment marks the end of an era. Nearly 60 years of federally supported public broadcasting are coming to a close. While some may see this as a necessary change, others view it as a devastating blow to free, accessible, and community-focused media. What will happen to communities that lose their trusted public stations? How will this affect the next generation's access to educational programming? These are questions that will define the future of American media for years to come. And now, I want to hear from you. Are you a listener or supporter of public radio or PBS? Do you believe communities can fill this gap through local donations and support? Or is this funding loss simply too big to replace? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us your personal experience and let us know how your community will be affected. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates, hit the like button if you found this report informative, and join the conversation. Your voice matters, and we'll feature some of your responses in a follow-up video.